away from the game tonight.
I know, it's a bummer. I don't think we'll get much of a turnout here. Hopefully people are watching the game.
I'm sure they are.
I don't think pickleball's on the menu here.
Game, so we should be okay. Hello.
He'll be here in a second.
Hello.
Good, Nathan. Good. Hey. Hey, what? AJ, how we doing? Good. Yep, that's that. Yep. Can you believe it?
I mean,
Told him.
You were more on it than I was. I don't have that tie.
Oh, if he wasn't here, yeah. Ready to brawl. I'll take you out.
That's excellent. You're aware of that. I just one of these days.
Yep.
I want to
Oh,
say,
yeah.
I really like oatmeal raisin. I'm the weird guy who everyone
Deborah
hates.
Special.
I love oatmeal raisin.
Oatmeal raisin, I'm like,
Same here.
Wow. I spent my high school senior year working in this field.
Sure.
Yeah,
Wow.
so I was all about the oatmeal raisin.
especially when you have time.
Family fun day.
When I see fire weather, I bring over the fun. We had a fire.
What clock are we gonna go by here? Got 1 minute. You wanna go by that clock? You got quite a group out there tonight, Miss Carolyn. Big crowd. Seven o'clock.
Don't you have like 6 of these already?
You wanna go by? Mr. Mendoza.
Oh, I have her card right here. That's okay. Sure.
Oh, good.
Somebody wants to look at that?
Oh, yeah, Miss Diana. She's super nice lady. She's the pickleball coach. Oh, cool. Diana, she's over in the corner. Yeah. Yeah, she's gonna speak, which is great. Found some more. Thank you.
Thanks.
Joe's going early.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, he's not messing around.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Rossmoor Community Service District's regular board meeting. Today is Tuesday, October 8th, 2024. I'm calling this meeting to order, and may we please have a roll call?
Roll call, Director Barkey.
Here.
Director Shade.
Here.
Director DeMarco.
Here.
Director Searles.
Here.
President Maynard.
Here. Chris, are we ready? Tonight, we are going to have our Pledge of Allegiance from Girl Scout Troop 9188. We just need to gather the ladies and have them come on in.
Brown.
Pardon?
Brownies.
It says Girl Scout Troop. But I did see a brown vest
Yeah,
walking
they're
in.
brownies. I think they got one daisy in there.
Do you?
Maybe.
Minis.
Kind of, yeah, they're not official Girl
Okay,
Scouts.
here we go.
Here we go.
They're not Girl Scouts till they're 4th or 5th.
Wow, they got quiet real fast.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, ladies.
Welcome.
No, that's all right.
We're all good. Thank you.
Hold on.
I want to hear their names.
Rossmoor night.
Yeah, it just brings back memories, fun memories. So next up, and try to beat that, we have Street Sweeping Corp of America, Jose Burrito, branch manager. Hello.
Just tilt it.
There you go.
If I may?
Yes, you may.
Let me give a little introduction to Jose. Jose is the rep from SCA who does our street sweeping. We are constantly on the phone and with his staff, and I appreciate his efforts, and he has I don't know what other areas he has, but he gives us attention, and we just had a bad situation this week, and they stepped up and let us know that they misscheduled and didn't hit us on yesterday.
Yes, on
Yes,
Monday.
and so you might want to explain what you're doing for us and when you're going to make it up.
We're going to recredit the full day, and we're going to do a resweep on next Monday for yesterday's miss.
What exactly happened?
A misscheduling with my dispatch. We sweep the first and third Mondays and Tuesdays, and the calendar was a little tricky, and they just missed it. No excuses, just,
Because I believe the first fell on a Tuesday.
yes.
Yes, so that was last week, so it was a bad week. It was a bad.
If we're going next week, what's going to happen with the parking issues?
Nobody's going to ticket it. They're going to sweep the best they can.
Okay.
Okay. In fact, our Captain AJ was here, and I explained the situation to him, and he's forgiving all the tickets they wrote yesterday.
So that'll be the 14th?
I'm sorry?
That'll be Monday, the 14th?
Yes.
And Carolyn has it out on social media.
But you just said, so tickets were issued last week?
No, yesterday. And
Yesterday.
They didn't sweep yesterday. They missed.
But it
schedule.
wasn't a first or a third, so why were tickets issued yesterday?
It was a first.
The first
It
Monday.
was the first
Yeah,
Tuesday?
yeah.
I see what,
The
see,
first
I would
Monday.
have made the same
Yesterday-
mistake as your company.
Yesterday was
So-
Monday.
First Monday,
Okay.
It was the
Calendar
first
is-
Monday.
yeah.
Yeah, it just was weird because
It is weird.
the
yeah.
first Tuesday was the last week. Now this was the first Monday.
Okay.
In hindsight, maybe we should have, scheduled it different, but either
Oh.
way, we stayed with our pattern and, yeah. But Captain AJ's forgiving, I don't know how many tickets he has to forgive, but they were out here ticketing. Okay?
Well, welcome to our meeting.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Were you invited here? Do you have a presentation you wanted to make? Is there anything on your agenda tonight?
Is there any questions I can answer on the street sweeping? Joe, just maybe parking enforcement?
I think one of the questions, and I'm sure the board's going to come up with many more questions, but Jose, I think you do a number of agencies. Can you tell us how our agency is doing? I know we do every other week. I know enforcement's an issue, but how many complaints you get? I know we get some sporadically, a week or a month, and that type of thing.
We do get about 2 to 3 complaints per service. From the other cities, there is enforcement with the sweeper all the time. So we're a little bit more effective during the sweep when there's enforcement there. The enforcement just started here not too recently, so we should see some results right away with the sweeping. We're about to get into leaf season. We're about 2-3 weeks away, and there's a lot of debris here. So it's going to be very critical to have the enforcement there with us so we can provide a proper sweep of the city.
Jose, what does your enforcement entail?
We don't issue the tickets, but we need the sheriff's department to be there to start issuing citations so the cars aren't in the way. That's what kind of slows us down and makes us go around a lot of vehicles.
Okay, so it's just basically the ticketing.
Yes. Yeah.
How are you going to, so we have a lot of large trees, a lot of leaves. So what's your mitigation measures? How are you going to deal with that? Like on let's just say last month, how many sweepers would come in on a Monday and Tuesday?
There's one sweeper each day when we come out here to sweep.
Okay.
We are gonna add another one once the leaf season starts happening. But it is tough. Before it would be here twice a month, and that wasn't enough to maintain a good sweep. Now we're here 4 times a month, but we're doing every other side, and it's still tough covering so much debris when we're only out here 4 times a month. There's technology we're gonna have in place. There's gonna be cameras on the sweepers pretty soon. We can provide some type of enforcement software, but still, we just need the vehicles to move. And there are certain areas as well. There's a small area to the north, I believe, where we're overlapping with trash day that we have to reroute because we're going around trash cans around those areas. But we will add a supplemental vehicle during the leaf season. It's a lot.
In a perfect world, we would be coordinating with trash. And we've tried, and we can't make that mesh. We can't make that coordination effort to where it complements each other. So there are trash days that he's working around. It's tough. What other and I don't mean to take the question of the board, what other county unincorporated areas do you guys service, Jose? You do Midway cities and
In LA, I don't, not unincorporated.
how about here in Orange County?
The Irvine branch, Not my branch. They cover Orange County unincorporated. I'm not too familiar with their operation though.
Okay, all right.
What's your operation?
I cover Los Angeles County for the most part, and on this side I cover Los Alamitos and the city. So they're closer to Downey. And up north I cover Yorba Linda and Villa Park. That's about as far as I go into Orange County.
Okay, so and I'm sure you say you get 2 or 3 complaints. So the sweepers know that they must start at 8:30?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
because we've been having complaints that they're starting before that. Again, this is, I don't know, this last week, but this year, that we've gotten complaints. I've heard of complaints about that. And the other complaint that I've heard is they just seem like they're going too quickly and they're not picking up the debris. So your camera thing would be fantastic. I know our last contractor, the general manager could go back and literally watch the sweeper. But I've heard of several complaints where it seems like the sweeper is going too quickly. Okay, like how fast should the sweeper be going in Rossmoor when it's just sweeping, sweeping, how fast should it be going?
If it's light debris, the sweeper can go up to 8 miles an hour.
8 miles an hour.
If it's heavy debris, he's got to slow down to 6 miles an hour.
Okay.
And we do have history of the GPS, and when the complaints come through, we can provide the history on the area, provide it to Joe or the resident.
Do you or any of your staff make sure that the area, like Rossmoor, all of the streets that are supposed to be swept, does someone go back and make sure that the sweeper actually hits all of those streets?
We do audits on the routes when we're out there, but it's not 100% of the entire route, but we do come out here and check. I've been out here and checked the driver a few times. But during the leaf season, if you were to watch the truck pass an hour, 2 hours later, you're going to see a lot of leaves back over that route.
No, I understand. And I can tell you, I've been here on this board long enough to where 2 contracts ago with Dixon, they would bring in 4 or 5 sweepers at leaf season. Now, you probably don't have the resources to do that, but that's how heavy the leaf season is in order to get it done between 8:30 and 4:30. Because it's, like I said, we got 80-year-old trees here, that drop a lot of leaves. So I'm concerned about your company being able to clean the streets during heavy leaf season, and what happens if you only clean half of Rossmoor or 3/4 of Rossmoor? What's the end result? How are we going to mitigate that? Are we going to come up with a solution to cover all of Rossmoor?
I'll increase the audits at Rossmoor. I'll have, when we start auditing the location, we follow the GPS, and we're watching it every hour, see how much he's covered. And we have a supervisor here on site to make sure the sweepers picked everything up. If the driver requests additional help for the day, we will send an extra truck out here to support him. So we can send other equipment out here to assist.
When the sweeper is full, what happens? So does the sweep have to dump where does the sweeper dump the leaves when it gets full?
The city dumps, we go to Stanton to dump the debris, then he comes back.
Where?
Stanton,
Stanton, okay.
CR&R.
Yes, okay.
Joe, I'm a little confused because in our agenda, we have him as a presentation, but we also have him, not you, but your company, on G3 to review and approve an extension rate. They're on the agenda twice.
I was going to bring that up. You have the option to move that up while he's here, or he doesn't have to be here for that extension, but you can do that.
Okay, because I see 2 agenda points. I don't know if you were new, but you're on our agenda twice. A
But
presentation.
he knows he's up for renewal, yeah.
Okay.
He sent a letter in
I see in the agenda. what
If
you
I
said.
may, before we move on, so there's some clarification here. One is, Director Marco, they had more sweepers because they were doing both sides of the street.
understood.
So it was more
Sure.
workload. So they're doing one side,
Yeah,
so,
good point.
so hopefully they can keep up. But, Jose, just so that we're all on the same page and we understand, I think we're talking two different areas with the cameras. You have a camera right now that you have GPS, and I know you've given it to
We
me.
have the GPS, but we don't have the cameras.
So what you've given me GPS reports in the, I mean, that.
Yes.
Okay, that proves that they've been to that area.
The speed limits haven't been
Right.
exceeded through the GPS
So,
reports.
this is the first I heard about the cameras, so can you explain that? Because the
Yeah.
cameras are gonna be great, but I don't know if they're gonna, I guess, coincide, or co-mesh, or whatever the word is, with the sheriffs. I don't know if sheriffs will be able to utilize them to give a ticket.
No,
That's a whole different issue.
yeah, it's a different issue.
All right.
We do have the option to have other software where we can provide that information to the sheriff's department if the city is interested on the ticketing.
Do you have any idea when you'll be getting those cameras?
Well, the cameras are going to start getting installed in 2 weeks. So in about 3 weeks, the cameras will be in the vehicles and we'll have that capability.
Do you know, you're saying, you do Los Alamitos, right?
Yes,
Okay. And you're saying there's a enforcement officer that follows the sweeper, right?
yes,
Okay.
In Los Alamitos.
yes.
And you don't do how many days does it take to sweep all of Los Alamitos?
Los Al, we do them, I want to say 4 times a month.
Okay. And so there is a parking enforcement officer that follows the sweeper pretty much through the whole route. I mean, unless they get bogged up writing tickets, right?
Yes,
Okay. But after it's done writing tickets, it goes and catches up with the sweeper, right?
yes.
Okay. And it's one, correct?
For my information, yes, it's just one.
Okay. And the duration of a day in Los Alamitos, just guess, is it the same as here in Rossmoor, 8:30 to about 4:30? Or is it less?
It's about the same, yes.
Okay. And the enforcement officer stays there that entire time?
I think we start a little bit earlier than he does, and he starts around 8:30. So we're sweeping, we'll try to do the commercial stuff first, then the officer catches up when we start the residential.
But if you're still sweeping at 2:30, 3 o'clock, is that enforcement officer from the city of Los Alamitos still following the sweeper?
Sometimes he leaves,
Okay.
but for the most part, he's with them.
It would be nice for us to have that. But that's been the problem, even before we switch. Okay.
Did you have anything else?
So you're, with the GPS, you can tell, you have technology with this GPS to tell how fast the sweeper's going.
Yes,
Okay. All right, because we've had, again, a number of people that literally, it's going more than 6 miles an hour or 8 miles an hour. It's like, and again, we've been told by your company, oh no, the lifts are up and he's trying to go to another side. And it's like, no, the residents are saying, no, that's not true. They were actually sweeping at, how fast can you drive one of those trucks with the booms down?
if you go over 8 miles an hour and you hit uneven pavement, you're
You're
gonna
gonna mess it up.
You're gonna damage the pickup head.
Okay. All right.
But I can go back. 3 months, provide an audit, and look at the speeds of the sweeping here. And
So, okay, so you could provide that, I mean, not on an daily, but you could, if the general manager requested an audit, based upon complaints, let's say, you could go back to that day and do a speed audit, a audit saying, no, this is the route of the sweeper from the time they came into Rossmoor to the time that they leave. You can do a map of where it's been, correct?
Yes,
And give it
I
to the
could.
general manager?
Yeah.
Going back in time?
yes,
Okay, fantastic.
Director Schultz?
No, thank you, Tony. Covered it.
Director Barkey?
Nothing.
No? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Jose.
Well, guys, he's here right now. We can jump to G3.
We should.
since he's here. I think we should too. But I do have a question. You're familiar with the route that the trucks make, correct?
Not 100%.
Not 100%.
Familiar with the areas like the overlapping boundaries?
Well, I'm concerned about the perimeter. The perimeter being Montecito, St. Cloud. Because what I've noticed is we have there's this, I don't know what sides of the streets you do on the perimeter of Montecito and St. Cloud. Because every time I look at the library that's under construction, it looks like no one has ever swept that in the last 6 months. And I don't know if your drivers, if it's part of their route or if it's not. If it's not part of the route, how can we make it? Because I believe the contract is defined that you are to do Rossmoor and the Rossmoor unincorporated county. And it doesn't become Seal Beach until you get onto the curb and the sidewalk. So technically, that is a county curb on one side of the street that looks like it's been neglected for years. So that's why, do you have any confirmation that you are sweeping on the perimeter of Rossmoor on Montecito?
I can get the confirmation through
Please get the
GPS
confirmation,
reports.
because it literally looks like maybe the property owner might be taking care of a little, but as soon as they get to the county/Seal Beach building, which is still a county curb, it's going untouched.
Is this where the condominiums are?
Yes,
It's
Jose?
right before the condominiums on that corner.
On the turn.
And also
Okay.
then it leads into those condos. But, so do you know if you do where those condos are?
There's a section where it goes into the condos that is not in the maps, but I'll have to verify that.
Okay, please put it on your radar, talk to the powers that be that it needs to be, because that actually is county road, and Seal Beach isn't taking care of it, because it's not Seal Beach.
Okay,
The responsibility of the county roads, which your contract says that you will service for us, that is part of it.
okay.
And so is the library. That's also because, again, even though it's a city library or county-city confusion, the curb still is part of the island of Rossmoor.
Okay. I know that was one of the items that Joe brought to my attention.
Yes, we talked about this a while back, and I believe you looked into it, and if I remember correctly, Jose, you mentioned that you also do Seal Beach,
Yes,
so it should be hit either way. And you had mentioned that there was some type of issue with the map, but you said you'd start hitting it, and it's that curve.
yeah. Okay, yeah,
You remember the
that's why I was
conversation?
familiar.
Yeah, it was about a month ago. Yeah. And I think you're hitting it.
Probably the Seal Beach driver doesn't have it on his route map, but I'll
Right.
verify.
Right.
Well, again, technically, it's not Seal Beach, though. But
it's
still,
Rossmoor.
if you're supposed, even if it was, it's not being hit. And it literally looks like you're stopping right before the library, going around the library, and maybe starting again by the condos. And it's just a pile of leaves that have been there forever.
Okay,
So when you come back next week, it'd be great if you can clean that.
I'll take care of it.
Okay, so since we're moving to your request for a 3% increase or a 3.5% increase, my question for Mr. Mendoza or whoever wants to answer, we're jumping to G3. And that is on page, it says 41 on the PDF itself. So Joe, why don't you walk us through your preamble of G3, and then we could get to some questions. And this is regarding a review and approval extension and rate increase request from Street Sweeping Corp. of America. Mr. Mendoza.
Thank you. President, members of the board. Page 43, if you would take a quick look, Jose provided us with a request to extend their contract with a 3.5% cost of living adjustment. And then you go back to page 41. Currently, we have a contract with them. We have an initial contract with Sunset Properties for a 3-year contract beginning in 2021 with 3 one-year extensions. Now, SCA, Sweeping Corp of America, took over for them and bought them out, and we have the ability to extend this contract, 1-year extension for calendar year 2025, and give them that CPI increase, which is, it's in the contract that they can request a cost of living increase. So my recommendation is we go ahead and approve it for another year. Within that year, we can always look out and see what other things are available as far as contractors, but the note to us would be $81,203 annually, and this is a monthly bill of $6,766.97. So I'm, happy with the program they put together and the service they put together. With anything, it's a constant back and forth and a constant relationship we have with, hey, you missed this, you missed that, and they've been very good about, okay, the guy's over here, or we're going to send somebody out tomorrow, and we'll try to hit that area. But sometimes, cars are parked in front of those homes. If they were dissatisfied with the service, that doesn't mean that they missed it. Sometimes people are dissatisfied, and they've been very good about accommodating that. So I'd recommend extension.
Was the original contract, because this was prior to me coming back on this board, it was a 3-year contract, and in the contract it says from that point on it's 1 year extension?
Three one-year extensions.
Okay. I wouldn't have approved that. I myself, I don't like that type of contract with auto renewals after 3 years where it's automatic. Well, I guess it's not automatic, but it's 1 year. So I'm going to open it up on this side this time. Director Shades, do you have any comments, questions, inquiries on this concept of initiating a 1-year term?
I do not. It looks like everything's pretty much in there for us, black and white, literally. Is the contract, or is it this time of, like, right now, every year? In the month of September
The
or
1st of
October?
January.
It renews the first of
January?
January. We're ahead of the
It
game.
renews in January?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
It ends in January, according to it.
Yes, so we'll renew
So
it
it'll be
as of
starting in
January 1st.
February. Okay.
If I might have shortchanged the report, let me give you a little more backup. In our agreement with Orange County Public Works, we are reimbursed for this. So, and they do have a cost of living portion that they will live up to, and so they will cover this 3.5%.
The county will.
Yes.
That answers my question.
Director Barkey?
This isn't the actual contract, this is just a summary of the changes that are
Yes, sir.
requested. What is in the contract as far as early termination and our ability to get out of it if something goes south? Is there anything in there?
I believe it's a 30-day notice, yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I should have attached the contract.
Okay. Tarquin, you've reviewed this?
Yes.
No red flags?
Talking about our contract?
Yeah.
Want to pull your mic up?
Yes. Director Barkey, that is correct, I've reviewed it.
Okay. Nothing further?
Okay. Director Searles?
I mean, I think we should have a contract before us that has Street Sweeping Corp. of America and not be renewing a contract for Sunset Property Services. I mean, if we're looking to extend this contract, if it's a situation where we're just doing a 1-year extension, then we should be looking at whether the entity we're extending with is the proper one, being the Street Sweeping Corp. of America. I just say we take time to get the paperwork to look proper going forward rather than relying on an old document for an entity that doesn't exist. I don't have any issue with the terms in the sense that it's all paid for, but I don't understand why, we don't have a fully vetted new contract at this point.
Okay. Director DeMarco?
So we're not changing the original contract. This is like a add-on 1-year extension.
Well, that's within the contract. They took over and bought out the previous owner, and they have taken over that contract. And I believe Tarquin can.
So Tarquin, what is the proper protocol what's your recommendation? Just Is this fine to extend it? Should it be a brand-new contract with the brand-new company that took over the old company? I mean, what?
Well, we have the existing contract. Under the law, they assumed that contract. So our contract is now with the new company, even though it's in the name of the old company.
Okay.
Same terms and conditions apply. If the parties wanted to, they could renegotiate the contract, but that would reopen the contract itself to do that. We changed the contract in a material sense.
And this contract, the 3-year contract ends at the end of the year?
Mr.
Yes.
Mendoza?
Yeah, it
December
renews
31st.
January 1st.
What?
It renews January 1st, if we want to renew it.
For 1 year?
Yeah.
So-
the 3-year original contract with the old company ends at the end of the year, right?
No, it started in 2022,
Okay.
okay? And we had 3 years, so, yeah,
Goes to December 31st, 2025.
yep.
Oh, so we have another year in the contract. So, Joe, go over this again. Go over the dates as you,
Okay. We, as far as I know, we entered into a contract as of December 14, 2021 with Sunset Properties,
okay?
okay? So that's 21, 22, 23, and we're in 24 right now, and we want a 1-year extension for 25,
Okay.
okay?
That will be the second extension.
Second extension.
Be the first 1-year extension.
First one was last year,
Be granted to 2024.
So we
The second-
extended this last year?
yes.
Correct. This extension extends it to.
And so we have one more left after this, and that's what I said. During this period, you know, we have to look ahead. We should start looking at
Yeah.
comparing other services. So
Okay.
this is the second
So
extension.
I don't have, I mean, it's, what is it, October? So it's,
Yeah.
there's not much we can do. I mean, we're going to need a contract, so we're going to have to extend it.
Well,
I mean,
Yeah.
unless you want to,
I don't want to vote on this at all tonight, and the reason I don't is I don't see the contract we would be voting on in front of me to review. So I know it's an extension, I know it's an agreement that was made 3 years ago, I know this is the second 1-year extension. I also agree with Director Searles that, you know what, now's the time to at least clean it up a little bit, and make sure that the entities are the right entities. And I would like to see what I'm going to be voting on, whether we want to extend that term or not. That's what the board does, and I don't even see the contract in front of me right now. So I think, I don't want to take any action on tonight except give,
Excuse me, if I may,
yeah.
we've already met on this with contracts, the committee, and they've seen it. But if that's what you want, that's fine.
The board isn't seeing it.
The contracts committee has,
Okay, so I saw it
okay?
a couple meetings ago,
All right.
but now you're asking the board to vote on it, and it's not, we don't have the contract in front of us, so we don't know what we're voting on. Anyone else?
Michael, when you saw it a couple months ago, were there any concerns you had in reviewing the contract?
Well, obviously, but my biggest concern is cost creep. Every time a year comes up that we're always just having to stomach a 3.5 increase. Now granted, we're not the ones paying for it, but just so you know, we have to go back to mom and dad and ask for a bigger allowance.
We
you
pay
know?
for it one way or the other.
Yeah, but still, the purse strings here is we need to do our due diligence.
The county's money is our tax money.
Yeah, it is. And a 3.5%, you know, that they're asking for. You know, I just get a little concerned that each year they come and ask for a 3.5, a 3.5, a 3.5, a 3.5, you know. 4 or 5 years from now, it just seems like a lot of expense of what used to cost us a lot less.
I agree. I'm
So-
not sure, but that doesn't have anything to do with the original contract.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
I think, again, I would like for the whole board to see the original contract and the proposal, and I agree with Director Searles that if we're going to be putting pen to paper on a contract, let's make sure it has all the right entities.
Who else was on contract committee?
Tony?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I don't even remember actually seeing the contract. I remember having the discussion, but I'm not sure I ever saw the contract.
How, Tarquin, how important is it renewing, again, I just want you to reiterate again, are we being, I mean, I don't know, I'm asking you to be, your opinion, but having it changed to put the current company on it, is that unreasonable request? Or should we just keep it, this happens all the time, and companies buy companies, and it's just a continuation of the original contract with an extension?
It's fairly routine just to keep the original contract, but some entities will, amend the contract just to change the nature, just to change the name, do an amendment to change the name of the entity, the new entity. But typically, most governmental entities just leave the contract alone until they need to revise it to make substantive revisions.
And then they make the changes.
Right. But either way is legally permissible.
I mean, I agree that we should probably see the contract,
The original.
and the 1-year extension that we signed last year, and then the new one. It should be here looking at us, but, I mean, I think that's probably a given. I'm probably still going to vote for it because now it's going to be November, and
That's still 2 months before it expires.
Did
Yeah.
the 1-year extension last year include a 3.5% increase?
I believe so, because we had to
Whatever
go.
the cost of living was, yeah.
Yeah.
And the county, it's pretty standard throughout the county what they're getting. I believe it's a standard 3.5, depending on the CPI, and, yeah.
Yeah, but to my recollection, that was the first year of the extension where we had to go back to county, and we were not 100% sure that the county was going to absorb the 3.5%. But Joe was 8. Remember that, Joe?
And since then, I have written confirmation from the county that they will cover it.
That's all good. Let's bring it back next month.
With you want it changed, or you want it, the original contract with
I'll
the?
go by our attorney's advice that's saying that it is not a requirement. It is done, it's more of a preference, and not to create a bigger legal expense from both entities. So follow a path that's acceptable, but let's have that confirmation email that you have from county that says they absorbed the 3.5. Let's look at the original contract, the one that we signed last year, and then the new one, and then we'll be able to have, or at least do our due diligence before putting it to vote. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jose.
All right.
Okay, so that brings us back to presentations. So we now are going to move back to 4B, Orange County Public Works, Vector Control, Miguel Jacobs, the Director of Communications.
We just received information late tonight that Trin
Yes.
Tron is going to be representing Miguel, and she will be giving us an overview of the program.
And you said your name is Trin?
Yes, my name is Trin Tran.
Trin, thank you.
Thanks, Trin.
Welcome to Rossmoor.
Thank you so much for having me tonight.
Have you ever been here before?
I have actually. My son went to preschool around here,
Oh.
so we've been at the park. We love it here.
Welcome back. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming tonight.
Okay, thank you. So my presentation tonight will inform you about our organization as well as services that are available to residents of Orange County, and also what residents can do to help with vector control. So my name is Trin Tran. I'm the education coordinator at the Orange County Mosquito and Vector Control. And the mission of our organization is to educate and protect the people of Orange County from vectors and prevent vector-borne diseases in an environmentally responsible manner. So on the screen, you see 6 examples of our top vectors or pests of concern in Orange County. The top one, of course, is the mosquito. which can spread disease through their bites. We have the red imported fire ants, which can sting and leave its venom. And for a certain number of individuals, this venom can be an allergic reaction that can actually lead to fatality. Rats can also spread disease through contaminating food or water that we drink and eat, and they can also carry ticks, which can carry disease as well. In the second line, we have fleas, which can carry flea-borne typhus, and fleas can be found on pets or stray animals or wildlife. Ticks, of course, through their bites can also spread disease. And flies, although most of them are very helpful as pollinators, there are a few called filth flies that actually can spread disease through laying eggs on waste. So as you can tell, there are a number of vectors in Orange County, and in order for us to limit the spread of disease, it's important to have a comprehensive plan for vector management. So we have a system called Integrated Vector Management. It's a comprehensive system of basically a process in which we are able to conduct vector control in an environmentally responsible manner. So the very first foundational step is, of course, education. So we do this through outreach in the community at different live events, fairs, festivals, sometimes library visits. We conduct presentations in classrooms. I'm actually the person who does these presentations, and we have a program for second graders, fourth graders, sixth graders, and we hope to expand the program even further this year. We also provide literature at different city events, and we have our website online as well as a very active social media page. Our next step for vector management is surveillance. So our scientists actually set up a grid system of mosquito traps around the county, and we collect data every week. We test these mosquitoes and determine if there is an abundance of mosquitoes or potential spread of disease in certain areas of the county, and then we act accordingly. We also test for pathogens, not just only in mosquitoes, but also in ticks, fleas, rodents, birds, and opossums. Although we don't actively set traps for the other vectors other than mosquitoes, based on need, or if a resident notices dead rodents or birds, they can call animal control, and animal control can bring it to us, and they can be tested on that occasion. In addition to surveillance, our last level is control, and this is when we have our inspectors follow a series of steps to help reduce the amount of mosquitoes, red imported fire ants, rats, and filth flies. So the first level for inspectors is to actually conduct a visit to the home if requested, and they can guide the resident to find sources of standing water where mosquitoes may be breeding. And in doing so, that's the most environmentally safe and also the simplest way to reduce mosquitoes, to get rid of basically their habitat, because they need to develop in standing water. And if we can eliminate them earlier in their life cycle, then we don't have to worry about the biting, flying form of the mosquito spreading disease. So source reduction is the simplest and the most effective. However, if there are areas of standing water that are unable to be eliminated or dumped out, we can provide free mosquito fish. And this is a great solution as well, because mosquito fish actually are natural predators of mosquito larvae and pupae, and so they will naturally eat it up as part of their diet and eliminate the possibility of those mosquito babies becoming flying adults that bite. And the last level is chemical control, and we do not do this very often. It's only based on data that proves that there is abundance and the potential of disease spreading. So we do apply larvicide, which kills the larva form of the mosquito, and it is in the form of it is called BTI, and it's actually a soil bacteria, so it is a natural source. And for the flying mosquitoes, we spray adulticide, which is a very low volume, and again, that is based on need. Chemical control is always the last resort because we do not want mosquitoes to develop a resistance, and we want it to be effective when we apply it, when we need it.
What's the adulticide chemical?
The adulticide chemical, I actually don't know the name of it, but I can definitely get back to you on that.
When's the last time that was done in Rossmoor?
The last time it was done, it was within the month. I believe it was in Anaheim,
No, in Rossmoor.
in Rossmoor. I don't have that information, but I can get that for you as well.
And the same thing with the BTI. Can
Yes.
you give the general manager a breakdown of when this was done in Rossmoor, if it was done?
Okay, so the last time BTI and the adulticide was applied, is your
what the
question?
adulticide is.
And the chemical for the adulticide. Okay, yes, I will definitely do that. Okay, next part. So although there are 3,500 different species of mosquitoes worldwide, the one of highest concern to us in our area is called the Aedes aegypti mosquito. And you can see here in the visual their life cycle. So a female flying adult will look for standing water to lay her eggs. The eggs will develop into larvae, which you see on the left there, and they look like tiny worms. But they are larvae, not worms. And they develop into a pupa form, also in the water. And then eventually the pupa form will metamorphosize to become the flying adult that can bite and transmit disease. This entire life cycle occurs in warm weather and water in about 5 to 7 days. So it is a very fast life cycle. During the winter, it does slow down. With the Aedes aegypti, they prefer to lay their eggs in containers of standing water. And if we look at the bottle caps around the room here, that's about 1 teaspoon. And a female can actually lay over 100 eggs in that small amount of water. And the eggs actually may be laid on dry surfaces that are expected to flood with water in the future. So those eggs can survive on those dry surfaces actually for years. And then in the presence of water, they will hatch and then they will continue their life cycle. So it's important not just to look for areas of standing water, but also look for the eggs on dry surfaces, and they look like tiny black grains of rice, but very small. These Aedes aegypti can transmit diseases including dengue, yellow fever virus, chikungunya, and Zika. Here's a visual of different areas of standing water around your homes where Aedes aegypti may be breeding. As long as there is standing water, it is a potential source, so these are only some examples. We have a water fountain that doesn't have a pump, indoor plants, rooted plants that you place in water. If mosquitoes are able to come into your home, they can lay their eggs there as well. Flower pots that are overwatered may also collect water on the plates. Tires that are not being used, that are laying on its side, and even bromeliad plants, which can have little pockets of water collect. And of course, litter and any other items like children's toys that are left in the yard. So the great thing about mosquito control is if we are informed, there are actually very simple ways of controlling the population from reproducing. So what you can do to take charge in your own neighborhood, your own backyard, is first to clean up the clutter in your yard, because that can collect water very easily. Don't grow plants in water-filled buckets or vases, even indoors. And if you do, then you can replace that water weekly. And if you do so, then that prevents the bacteria and algae from growing, which will attract the mosquitoes if it's not emptied. You can also remove saucers from under potted plants, remove bromeliads and other plants that naturally hold water. And you can also scrub outdoor containers that have held water with hot soapy water to kill those mosquito eggs, and then store them in a dry place. Of course, on your own bodies, you can apply mosquito repellent to any areas of skin that are exposed. And if you are going outside during mosquito time, at dusk and dawn, then you can wear loose-fitted clothing that is light-colored, and that will also protect you as well. Some other simple ways to keep pests and vectors under control is to limit their access to our backyards. So they are looking for food that might be trash that we leave out, that might be dog food or other pet food that's left outside. If you have fruit trees and the fruits are falling onto the ground, it's good to take care of that, make it harder for them to access food. And of course, if there's just other areas that they can take shelter in, they will get comfortable in our backyards, and they may carry diseases. Okay. So vector control, of course, is something that we specialize in, but at the same time, it is a shared responsibility. So we work to inform all residents and educate them on how we can all fight back in Orange County and keep vectors and disease away. You are welcome to contact me at tran@ocvector.org. You may also visit our website or check out our social media page. And if you have any questions, we are happy to answer them at the phone number listed there. And I will take the questions that you had asked about and email back.
Director Shade.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank
That
you.
was very informative. So I know we've had several issues here in Rossmoor in our flood control areas, and we've requested multiple times to have them taken care of and flushed or whatever needs to be done, because we do have standing water and we get complaints all the time. And I'm just wondering, when was the last time that you guys came out to service the channels, the water control channels? Do you know?
Excuse me. Water control channels are inspected on a regular basis year-round. We do have all of that data in our system, and I can share that information as well. The
It's all
water
fine.
control
Okay.
channels in Rossmoor.
All right, so this phone number, when you call it, what exactly happens when you call that phone number?
So this is our customer service line, and when you call, you're able to ask for guidance around how to handle vectors that are around your home. So for mosquitoes, we can set up a service request where an inspector visits the home and helps to find sources of standing water and provides advice for the resident as well. We also provide guidance for rat problems and also the other vectors and pests that were mentioned.
So if a resident called you and had an issue, a complaint basically about the flood controls and the stagnant water that's been in there, how long would it take for you to get somebody out to service that?
For the flood control, it would take about 1 to 7 business days for our inspector that's in charge of that zone to call the resident back and schedule an appointment that works for them.
All right, can we get that inspector's name, contact information, so that we have that directly?
Definitely.
All right, if you could get that to Joe, that would be great.
Okay. To Joe. Should I share the answers to the question that you had asked as well to Joe?
Please.
Okay.
Anything else, Director Barker? Director Searles?
I think, listening to Director Shade, I guess my biggest question is, what's your coordination with Orange County Public Works in maintaining the storm channels?
Coordination with Public Works in maintaining the storm
So like
channels.
making sure there isn't debris, anything that's causing the standing water. You're treating the issue, and they're treating the, say, geography or the physical structures. What are you doing combined where you're using your resources and theirs to kind of solve this issue?
I don't have the answer to that question, but I can also find out and share it with you.
Okay. Does your team meet with Public Works to discuss these kind of issues?
I'm not aware of that at the moment, but I can find out.
Okay, thank you. I look forward to your answer.
Thank you.
Director DeMarco.
Carolyn, were we able to show pictures? Can I show?
Sure. Director DeMarco has some pictures he took of the flood control that we're all concerned about.
So I took these pictures today, and certainly I want these on record, Carolyn, that we're asking, and I'd love these pictures to be in our record for our minutes. But my question to you, Ms. Tran, is should we be concerned about this? I took these today, okay? This is just one channel, okay? Should we be concerned about this, having standing water? Some of these have fish in them. So were the fish put in there by you guys or somebody, or is that a natural thing? So this was today. I took these today. So my question is, should we have some concern about this? Having this much.
I wouldn't be able to tell you looking at the photographs,
Okay.
but we can send an inspector over there properly to take a closer look.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing those photos. And would you be able to share those photos
Sure.
with me?
Oh, yeah, yes. Carolyn, can you share them with? Okay.
Maybe it's a mosquito fish.
It could be.
I don't.
So just so you know, Ms. Trent,
Yes.
that someone else from your office was here 4 months ago?
Maybe 2.
And we brought up these same things. I believe Director Shade asked the same question. Can we have someone look into the canals? We've had Public Works here. I asked that Public Works and you guys be here the same day. That'd be great, because there's this, Director Searles asked the same thing. It's, this department handles, I don't know why the water is standing in this canal, but it's standing, it seems to us, constantly. Okay, there's like no flow. So it's just sitting there. That's why there's so much algae. But we can't seem to get the right department or departments to focus on a solution, or to come back and say, no, it's already been abated. We put fish in to kill all the, the mosquitoes. But your presentation is, and thank you for coming, this is all great information for Rossmoor, but the majority of your presentation is about mosquitoes and about standing water. And our largest, and you give examples, and we all should be aware of, and those were great examples, the tire and everything, but I'm telling you, the largest example, what's happening right now in Rossmoor, is our open flood channels, and which I just showed you a picture of. There's a lot of water in them right now, and I'm sure there's a lot of mosquitoes in them too. So we just we need someone to come out and look at it, assess it, and if we can correct it, please correct it, and then tell us how you're correcting it. Because we're getting people asking us the same questions. Should we be concerned about all the water in our canals?
Okay.
Channels?
Thank you so much for sharing that with me. So what I heard, just to clarify, was a concern was brought up about standing water in the flood channel previously, and there wasn't a follow-up response regarding what is going to happen next. Okay. I apologize for
No,
that, and now that I have that information, I will definitely make sure something happens.
I appreciate it. And please relay everything to Mr. Mendoza or Carolyn.
I only have one question, because
Sure.
everyone's addressed the same things. How many mosquito traps do we have in Rossmoor that you monitor? Are they in our parks?
The number of mosquito traps is actually set by the population density, and it's a grid system. I don't have the visual of it right in front of me, but I can find out how many mosquito traps we have in Rossmoor and share that with you as well.
I would like to know that, and one of the things you said is the amount of traps is proportional to the issue. Did I hear that correctly? Meaning, if we're in an area that has been identified with more mosquitoes than other communities, we would then have more traps for your observation technique?
So the grid system it's based on need. and also based on the data that we collect there. So if we notice this summer that there's a high abundance of mosquitoes in a particular area of Orange County that doesn't have an abundance of traps, we will actually set up extra traps there to survey it even more closely. In terms of the original grid lines, I would have to clarify with our vector ecologists in terms of how the density of traps are set.
How long have you been putting traps in neighborhoods?
Putting traps in routes,
In-
collecting data
The
regarding?
collecting data, I'm just curious, how long have you been collecting data via traps?
Oh, I don't,
Years? Decades?
over a decade.
Is there a trend line in Rossmoor? Are we getting better? Are we getting worse?
Rossmoor has not been in our high-risk 9 cities.
Okay, so that's good. So we're not high risk.
No.
Okay.
Mhm.
And we're maintaining that. So we're not trending up, we're not trending down.
You're not in the top 9
I
of
would just like to
concern.
know,
Yeah.
if you're going to come here, and I'm not trying to shoot the messenger, and I know you came last minute because someone else was supposed to come. But when you come to present to Rossmoor, it would have been great to say, by the way, out of all the communities, you guys are in the bottom 10% of our concern. You're trending at the same rate as what we expect. I wish we could have learned a little bit more, not about abatement, not about whatever, but
Some data.
what's going on specific to Rossmoor with mosquitoes, with rats, with these vectors that you have all this data you collect. Please let whoever comes next to make it very
Yeah.
specific so we know if we should be concerned, if we know we're doing a good job. It would be great because we've had people come and present before, and we've been vocal as well, going, guys, we're all in this together. We all need to help. We all need to reduce water. But how are we doing?
Right.
And I think that would have been a great opportunity tonight if you would have been able to do that.
Yes, thank you for the feedback. So I understand that you have the general knowledge and you'd like more specific data for Rossmoor.
For Rossmoor, yeah.
Yes, completely understand. And we'll do that next time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so
Mr.
much.
Tran,
Tran-
one last question, I
Sure.
apologize. Our last guest had discussed what do you call it, a project over at the base where they were essentially neutering mosquitoes so that they would no longer be viable partners. Do you know any status or how that project's going?
Yes, so that's our sterile insect technique project. It is a pilot, and we are testing it out right now in Mission Viejo in a small community. And basically, we are taking male mosquitoes and applying radiation to them, just x-rays basically, and that causes those male mosquitoes to become sterile. And then we release them in that controlled community just as a pilot. And the method basically is to have those sterile male mosquitoes outcompete the normal male mosquitoes to reduce the reproduction of mosquitoes for the future generations.
When do you expect to have any kind of feedback, data from that?
In a few months.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
President Mayor,
Have a great night.
Yes.
if I may, Trent, thank you for coming, and I know it was the last minute. You guys had an illness in your department. I think
Yes,
Miguel was sick.
Yes, our director, Miguel.
But if I may, I want to go over, and I want to take time to read this because it's important, because it has to do with flood control. She's doing mosquito abatement, so she's treating the water, but at the same time, I asked the flood control personnel to give me a brief synopsis of just recently what's taken place. So if I can read this, it might clarify some things. One is, I apologize for the delayed response. I appreciate you advising of concerns reported to you regarding some of the flood control channels. We have received similar requests. So basically, he gives us the name of the managers, and I know him really well. We talk to him on an ongoing basis. Basically, we get a lot of calls for mosquito abatement and for flood control in the standing water. What we do is we log it. Jessica calls, or I call, or Carolyn calls, and we make sure that we plug it in. Usually, And we also ask the resident to get online and to report it. So the more reports you get, the more reaction you're going to get. So we do it with them, and we log it. So just let me give you some recent stuff. Kempton Storm Channel. Vegetation growth has been reported in the past on the subject channel near Martha Ann Drive and Mainway Drive. And this is problematic because flood control doesn't have, they have no control over some of this stuff. Inspection staff responded, and I was there with them because I went out there, I know the resident that complained, and found vegetation approaching onto flood control channel property, which will be written up for trimming. All flood control channels are fully cleaned once a year. They bring the CCHC out and the Conservation Corp, and they come out and they clean the channel and the vegetation. All flood control channels are fully cleaned once a year, which includes trimming of all vegetation. Now, that's not their vegetation. This is residents who have let the vegetation grow over the wall and creeping down into the flood control. Vegetation from fence line to fence line. OCPW and O&M did not plant any vegetation on the subject flood control channel, but experienced overgrowth from private properties. It appears that some vegetation throughout the years has been planted by the former or current owners between private and public fencing for privacy. Okay, so they're dealing with that. Report has been received of moss and or algae blocking flow regarding the subject channel. Inspection found that leaves and palm fronds had fallen onto the channel invert and were blocking flow. Cleaning of the facility was addressed under a current work order, and they cleaned it up. OCPW and O&M management has provided direction to OCPW and O&M flood inspection staff to perform bi-weekly inspections on Mondays of the entire subject facility to identify all concerns and create the necessary work orders. All generated work orders will be submitted to OCPW and O&M scheduling section for schedule to complete all the work. Efforts will take place as long as concerns are continued to be observed or needed. So that was just Kempton. Then we move on to Rossmoor Storm Channel. Weatherby Road to Foster involving some portions of the in-place gabion mesh armoring of the mentioned channel, which at times does catch debris, then it turns and slows down the flow. In turn, it slows down the flow. OCPW and O&M has a concrete lining replacement project. I think they mentioned that last time. Planned for spring, summer 2025. So some of it's dirt, and they're going to be bringing in concrete to increase the flow. It's not going to absorb the water. Also effective immediately until the repair project comes through, our manager has provided direction to the OCPW and O&M flood inspection staff to perform bi-weekly inspections on Mondays of the entire subject facility to identify all concerns and create necessary work orders to address any observed maintenance items. All generated work orders will be submitted to our OC and O&M scheduling section for schedule to be completed all work, to complete all work. And this is something that we dealt with, both of these. I personally went out because by the time we called sheriffs, the kids had left on 2 occasions and residents were upset. Citizens have submitted requests for backup of water near Martha Ann Drive. Residents have reported unauthorized access of youth possibly from the area that are climbing over the fence at Martha Ann Drive and skateboarding in the facility. OC and O&M inspection staff responded to the facility and found confirmed related material placed in the channel. Basically, they were creating jumps, and they were taking their bikes in there and they were creating their own jumps. We discussed the concerns with the resident and asked they contact law enforcement, which they did, and they called me. I went out. I know the kids, talked to them, took them home, knocked, they've stopped doing it. They were junior high kids, okay? But they were creating an issue. It was creating backup. Montecito Storm Channel, vegetation growth reported on the subject channel near Montecito. Inspection staff responded and found vegetation encroaching onto flood control channel property, which will be written up for trimming. All flood control channels are fully cleaned once a year. Again, this same thing, same kind of thing like I reported earlier. On Montecito storm days, standing water was reported along with facility inspection identified minor leaves and debris found in the channel invert. The inspection was able to remove some of the debris, but remaining will be written up for removal. So anyway, I can go on with a few more, but it's all redundant, and they are responding to our,
What's the date of that letter,
of this,
that communication?
yesterday.
Yesterday, okay.
I had asked them to come, but, you know, we don't want to bog down the meeting.
Right.
They'd come here a couple months ago, so I asked them for an update. And we're on the phone with them on a regular basis.
Anything else?
No, thank you.
Okay.
I just wanted to
Thank
let you
you.
know. Yeah.
May I please have, are there minutes or recordings so I make sure I don't forget any of the questions that were asked?
We can send that to you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Trin.
Thank you. We're going to move on to our public forum. We have one public forum today. The topic is Family Fun Day by Diana. Give me a little time here. Abruscato. Did I say it? Was that close? Wow. Abruscato. I'm just going to call you Diana.
Coach
Because
Diana is
that's
good.
easier.
Coach Diana.
Coach Diana. Oh,
Yeah,
no.
sure.
That's actually easier. Just Coach.
Yeah, whatever.
How you doing, Coach?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing great.
I see a lot of familiar faces here tonight. So first, I just want to thank you, council, board, staff, and everybody very familiar to me, so that's nice. My name is Diane Abruscato. I'm an International Pickleball Teaching Professional Association certified pickleball instructor, and I am the owner of Performance Pickleball LLC. We were officially established as an LLC in 2019, but I have been coaching under Performance Pickleball, which has been my company for 10 and 12 years now. I do come from tennis, have a background there, and first of all, thank you so much for approving a contract without ever meeting me, just really based on my credentials. And there's no exaggeration or extension on any of that. It's pretty simple. We do contract with other city entities, Ocean View School District and Huntington Beach. Performance Pickleball is based in Huntington Beach, and I live in Huntington Beach, and that's where I taught for 10 years. In addition to Rancho Santa Ana Community College District. So I've done some unincorporated areas too. I met Joe and he talked to me about coming on board. So I'm really happy. We did a site survey. I came out here, and how lucky are your residents to have those 4 dedicated courts. I know sometimes it's a long journey, so well done to Rossmoor CSD. At any rate, so far, I also want to thank the staff, obviously Joe and Chris, for inviting us out to your family festivals and allowing us to have a booth and just make ourselves available to your community as part of our promotional efforts. And to continue that, so far it's kind of been a little bit of a slow start because some of our advertising efforts need to be expanded and more streamlined. And I would ask that perhaps our CSD post some of our programming on the RCSD website with a little blog about us and who our staff are. All of our staff are certified and recognized internationally. We can coach Olympic teams. We are vetted through all of the AB requirements through the state of California. We are mandated reporters. We are everything and more than what you'll find in other service and other companies. Anyways, so thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so delighted to be here. This community has been great. when I've been walking on to court number 4 for our classes and private lessons. I had one this morning. We have an intermediate class tomorrow night that's going forward. So slow but sure wins the race. In addition, I thought it important because there's sometimes a lot of stigma between tennis and pickleball, and I know it's kind of, it's just there. Snowboarders, skiers, bikers and hikers on the mountain trails, it's everywhere. I've seen it over the course of the last 12 years, but as an effort to increase the reach for your tennis program and Bo, and also to extend and to promote pickleball in your community, Bo and I have decided to partner and put together a family fun day. So we've been coordinating our efforts first with approval from Joe, and then Chris, Bo and I have sat and talked about bringing together the community. Bo and I are going to be doing like clinics and play and lessons. I'm doing sort of a round robin format towards the end of the day for those that want to stick around and win some medals and prizes. Bo and I will be providing fruit, healthy snacks, water, Gatorade, and I'll be picking up some balloons. So we're basically, I'm going to be putting up some signage, and I'm here because it's November 10th on Sunday. I've emailed Chris the flyer, the final flyer, so it's ready for distribution. I don't know if you have a Rossmoor newsletter in this community, but I'd like to see it mentioned in the community over the next 3 weeks, somehow, some way. But all the information is here. And so basically, if we even just get it on the website, and it's for beginners and intermediates, really it's for families. It's not, as a certified youth pickleball instructor, I specialize in our youth as well as adults, but that is a specialization that we carry to accommodate families and communities. No RSVP required. I'm inviting each and every one of you to come out and learn a little bit about tennis and pickleball. Refresh some of your tennis skills and say hello to Bo, show your support. Great guy. Yeah, Bo's been great, and we're really trying to plunge forward with that, but it's going to be fun. Today, Bo and I talked about doing a raffle, so we're going to give out some free lessons. He's going to do some free tennis lessons, and I'm going to do a free pickleball, give away a couple paddles. There'll be no selling, no nothing. It's all free. We're just making ourselves available. So I just encourage you to share the information and encourage you to attend. And I know some of you have played, but I'd love to teach you guys how to really play. So how it works. So anyways, thank you for your time. Thank you for all that you do in Rossmoor. And again, I'd like to, thank the staff for their diligence in helping us pull this together. And sorry for rambling. I am Italian and a coach. And with pride, I would like to perhaps have one of these pens.
Director Searles, any?
Nothing. Thank you, though. It sounds like a great event. Thank you.
Thank you. Hope you can make it.
Director DeMarco.
Oh, we're providing paddles and balls, so you don't need a paddle. Bring
But
it.
if we have one, we can bring it.
Of
Oh, yeah.
course. Yeah.
Awesome. No, thank you for coming. Thank you for this event. I'm glad you're teaming up with Bo. Should be a wonderful day. I'll try to make it.
Very good. We're very excited. Thank you very much.
Wait, Director Searles, anything? I'm sorry, I'm looking at Director
S,
Shade.
another S.
Yeah.
Hi, Coach. Thank you for doing everything that you're doing. That sounds like a great day and event. You mentioned the newsletter, and I added you to my contacts here, and I'll share that contact with you that you can get a newsletter out, information on that.
Very good. Very good. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Appreciate the support.
The program's already out on social media.
Okay, good. Dr. Markham?
Nothing. Thanks for supporting our community.
Yeah, that's what I want to say is, this is a new program. Your involvement, I think, is critical in the fact that you're embracing our community. I met you at one of our events. I'm glad that you are trying to literally plant your seeds into Rossmoor and be part of this community. And this is a great program. And what you're doing, I really appreciate.
Thank you, and I extend, if you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out. I know Joe has my information, but I'm here to answer questions. I know I talked to Nathan about noise and just different types of balls and, what can we do to, but I'm here to work with your community. I'm not here to take over anything. I
Right.
really want to make sure we're on the right track and working with each other.
Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Okay, next we have reports to the board. D1, Recreation Report, our Superintendent, Chris Aguileta.
Hello, everyone. Just going to briefly speak on some past events and some upcoming stuff that we got going on. In July, we had Shakespeare by the Sea. They came in early July, on July 5th and July 6th. And they performed great performances, Henry IV and Cardenio. And in August, we finished up the movies in the park. We actually did the last one over at Rossmoor Park, so I think we might try that again next year. We showed Kung Fu Panda 4, and we offer free arts and crafts. We usually get a bounce house for the kids, and we usually get like ice cream vendor or snow cones type of thing, and some pizza is always usually offered. In September, it was the last Rossmoor Family Festivals. We finished up the summer series in September at Rush Park. We had the Emperors perform. They always do a great job for us. They love playing. This whole summer, it was just a great success of those family festivals. I think it was the most attended we've had overall so far. And I think we're going to try to continue to grow it, and we're trying to add something new to it each year. So we'll try to think about what we can add to it as well. September, we also had the Heroes Appreciation Luncheon. Los Alamitos Chamber of Commerce and RCSD co-hosted the luncheon. That was this September 19th right here in the Rush Park Auditorium. And it honors those in uniform for their bravery and courage. There's a bunch of people that were honored along with their family. It's a great event, great food, and it's a good time to show your appreciation for those people. Some upcoming events that we got, we have the Harvest Festival. We're doing that again, and we collaborate with the Thursday Farmers Market for that. So this year, we're going to do it actually on Halloween, October 31st. It's a Thursday. It's going to be at the Rush Park right here. We're going to block off the parking lot. We're going to have some fun activities. We're going to have contests for the kids. We're going to have pumpkin painting, cookie decorating, arts and crafts, and costume contests. We'll have some music and photo opportunities going on as well. We're also trying to do a trunk or treat as well. We have a couple of people signed up. If anybody's interested, please reach out. I think we might have something where you could register online. So you could check out our website and you could register for trunk or treats. And anybody who's welcome, you guys could come out and join us. I know it's probably a busy day, but we'd love to have anybody come out and join us for that. Family Fun Day, that's going to be November 10th. Diana just spoke about that. That's going to be November 10th. From 1 to 4, tennis and pickleball courts over at Rossmoor Park. Like she's mentioned, they're going to be doing free clinics for beginners and intermediate players. They're going to offer some healthy snacks and refreshments, and it sounds like it should be a fun event. So November 10th, 1 to 4 p.m. at tennis and pickleball courts. We also have the Rossmoor Winter Festival coming back. That's going to be December 14th this year. From 4 to 9, again, we're going to have local school performances from the choirs. We're going to have a snow zone with sleds, a kids zone with bounce houses, vendors, a ton of food trucks. We got a pony ride coming back, petting zoo. We have a picture with Santa, which is going to be free. And of course, we have a tree lighting as well. And we're always looking for local sponsors. If anybody's interested in being a part of that, please reach out or contact the office. We also have Rossmoor Senior Club. We're trying to build up senior programming. That is the second and fourth Thursday of the month right here in the Rush Park Auditorium. It starts at 9:30. We offer snacks, games, lectures, and just social interaction. This next couple months, we have Memorial Care coming out, as well as Orange County Healthcare Agency. And they're going to do lectures on different topics. Some of the topics will be fall prevention, home exercises, medication, and use of CBD. We're also trying to organize a Hope Card making session, and that's where people could come in and decorate and personalize cards and put positive messages, and that's promoting mental health and well-being. and then those get sent out to the community and people needing emotional support. We also have North Orange Continuing Education, NOCE, and they offer classes here for older adults as well, right here in the auditorium. Those are on Thursdays. They offer Help Yourself to Health, and that class starts at 1 p.m. And also on Fridays, they offer Health and Wellness class starting at 10 a.m. Both of those are here in the auditorium, and it's a combination of physical movement and lecture for those. We also have some new signage for the tennis and pickleball courts. They're just going to be general policies and court rules. We'll place them on each court. And those are in the works right now, so they should be up shortly, either this week or next week by the latest, hopefully. And then we are meeting with LEGSL, Los Alamitos Girls Softball League. We're in negotiations with the league to update the MOU. It's a little bit outdated. We're going to change a little bit of things on it. And we're meeting soon with the league to solidify the agreement, and hopefully it'll be ready for the November board meeting. And then just some ongoing things that we have. I mentioned the farmer's market. That's every Thursday here at Rush Park. That begins at 4 every Thursday. We also have American Red Cross. We have a monthly blood drive. That's the third Wednesday of each month. Next one we got is October 16th. And if you want to donate, visit redcrossblood.org. And then the last thing I got, we have the Rascals After School program. That's ongoing over at Rossmoor Park. And that offers, just kids can come join it. It's a good price, actually, and they build friendship, learn new skills, discover their passions. They do games, they do crafts, they do sports over there, and just they have a good time. The kids really enjoy it over there. And that's all I have for you.
Director Barker.
Thank you, Chris. Nice work.
Thanks.
Director Shade.
Chris, you've become the master of event planning. What
Just
you've done in
learned.
the past, I'm like astounded. All of these are like amazing events and things you just pulled together and become a regular thing for you. The trunk and treat, anybody can attend for that? No, it doesn't require any sign up or?
We could sign up on online. We'd encourage people to sign up online, just so we get an idea of how many.
I did see that online. That was wonderful. That's a great addition. I think that's fantastic. That October 31st Harvest Day is going to be jam-packed. I'm sure
Yeah, I
that's
hope
going to
so.
be huge, considering it's going to be on Halloween.
Right.
So that's going to be huge. Thank you for everything that you do, and your crew. You guys do amazing work. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Director DeMarco.
Thank you, Chris, for the report. Appreciate it. Can you, and I know I've asked you this in the past, but how do you come up with these numbers on the attachment 2 and 3?
It's
Is it you-
it's an estimate. I mean, we do try our best, but we're not going to be able to count each day. So we
But,
get,
but you count a few days and then
Yeah.
you extrapolate from those few days and average it out?
yeah, we average it out and then just multiply it by the amount of days in that month to get that number.
On Rush, what, on our fields 1, 2, and 3, those are that's like the soccer fields, the grass area out here, right?
Yeah, those numbers are high because it includes the festivals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I got
Is that what you're
gotcha.
gonna? That's what I'm
Okay.
assuming you're gonna ask.
And on Rossmoor, let me see, fields 1, 2, and 3, are those the softball fields?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right. No, this is great. And again, these numbers are derived from, you averaging, you going out and counting actually for a few days and then kind of maybe a busy day, a medium day, a light day, and kind of
Yeah,
put the
taking an
numbers
average
together.
of that.
Okay, no, that's pretty powerful. So, all right, well, thank you for this great report and keep up the good work, Chris.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Director Searles.
Yeah, Chris, just one quick question.
Sure.
Has there been increased use by the FNL group? I mean, it seems like there is here, but I'm,
They've been here, I think, for a couple years now. I'm not too sure number-wise, but they do use the park a lot, and I see a lot of teams over here. They also show up at the other park, and I have to sort of mention that their permit is for Rush Park. I don't have the exact numbers as far as teams and kids that are using the field.
Okay, I guess I would ask to make sure we monitor that. I mean, if we're being diligent with our contract with this softball group,
Right.
make sure the FNL is, covering the same obligations and pay and all that. So,
Right, okay,
But otherwise, I mean, to you, thank you. This is incredible. Well done.
thank you.
Chris, I have just a couple questions. This Orange County Continuing Education Program, how many weeks have we now been hosting this?
I want to say at least a month or two.
Okay, so we're a month in. How's attendance?
It's struggling a little bit.
It's struggling,
I think
okay.
the word needs to get out a lot more. The registration was a little bit difficult, I think. But yeah, I mean, more getting the word out is probably more important.
So
to
how
get the
many
numbers
people
out.
are coming to these events? 3, 4?
For the NOCE, I would say maybe about 10.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's not bad.
They have a minimum, they have to, I guess, register with FAST in order for it to go.
Okay.
Move forward. Very good.
Yeah.
And our senior day, same question. How is that being accepted by the community?
Also a little,
Same.
it's a struggle to get them out. We're also competing with, LoSal has a senior center as well. They do a lot of stuff over there. So it's a little difficult, but we're trying. We're gonna keep trying.
So on the second and the fourth Thursdays, they also have an event on the second and the fourth Thursday?
I know it's Thursdays. I know it's specific. They have a different, different stuff, a lot of programming for seniors on different days. They have bingo, they have like lunch stuff. They offer a lot more.
Free food usually gets people's
Yeah.
attention, so, go
Yeah.
figure. Well, I'm just glad we're trying a multi-generational approach to our facilities, our parks, and our programming. So even though it might not be what you would think of a huge success, you always have to start somewhere, and you always have to continue to be diligent and try to keep offering and putting the word out. So I'm glad we're doing more for multi-generations within our facility. So keep it up, and thank you very much for what you do. We appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Brings us to our consent calendar, Section E. Consent items are expected to be routine, non-controversial, act upon the board at one time, but if there's any board member who requests an item removed from the consent calendar, it shall be removed, so that we can discuss these separately. Is there anybody who would like to dissect our consent calendar?
I request the expenditure report be pulled.
Okay, so is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
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 Okay, Mr. Searles, or Director Searles, our revenue expenditure report is open. Please address staff or make your comments.
I would address it to Mr. Mendoza. I would address it to our accountant if he were present. On page 32 at the bottom right of the agenda, so it'll be 33 of the PDF. The top item, which is presumably check number 943 to U.S. Bank, is for $16,576.93. And when this expenditure was done for this report, it doesn't break out each of the expenditures and each of the items it went to in the budget. If we were to compare that to our August agenda packet where we had a report, the transactions that are on the credit card statement are all broken out and put into each individual accounting item. I honestly can't approve this.
What page are you on again? Page 33 of the PDF, you said?
It's page 33 of the PDF, yes.
Okay.
The top line,
The very top line.
it's our credit card payment, U.S. Bank.
It's page, I'm looking at page 33, I don't see it. I see,
It's page
I
33
see
of the
page
PDF
32.
document.
Right, it's 33 of the PDF, 32 in at the bottom right. That's why I was,
Okay. Now I understand. Okay, now I see. Okay.
Okay, so you're saying that, let's just see here.
so if we were to review this in comparison to our August agenda packet,
date wouldn't be in our August.
No, the point is to compare the reports themselves are different. Our August report broke down these transactions from our credit card statement and placed each transaction in the allocated budget item.
Okay, so
What we have here in this particular agenda packet is a bulk
a lump sum.
expenditure with no allocation to the accounting items. And I don't think that's acceptable.
Not broken down.
So, Mr. Mendoza, you understand his remark?
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look. I don't recall, but yeah, I'll have to check with our accountant. But, yeah. But I'm sure I've seen the breakdown. I don't know why it didn't make it to this report. I'll check.
Because we broke it down before,
Yeah.
that's appropriate, and this time we didn't. So I see this as an oversight.
And I don't know when you found this word, and I'm not just talking to Director Searles, but it'd be really great if I can know this ahead of time and I could have the answer for you, if you could let me know, okay?
I do apologize. I've been sick for the last week. I was happy to be here tonight, but I understand, and it's not, it was not intentional, and I'm frustrated as well, because I know you could have done so if I'd given you more time.
Okay, no problem. I'll find
Yeah.
it.
Thank you.
Okay, so I just want to understand something. So I'm here at, so this is August.
All
So
right,
you're
so
saying,
scroll down just a couple more pages,
okay,
right there.
so this
Look
is,
at that.
okay,
Or no, not that.
okay. I just want to
Keep going
understand,
down.
okay?
Keep going. One more. Nope,
Okay.
I guess not. Keep going. Sorry.
That's
It's
all right.
page 55 of that PDF.
So it's page 55 of this one.
Yeah, so it's on the bottom right. It's going to say 54. Or whatever. Oops.
I just want to see the line item for the credit card and how it's broken
Yeah,
down.
okay.
Here, I'll show you. Maybe I'll just show you online.
Yeah, but where's, no, I'm going last month.
Oh, to the month
I want to
before.
see how it's,
Oh, okay.
August, not September, August.
oh, August. This is August. So where's our credit card bill?
Like I said,
But you're saying in the past, our credit card bill, whatever it is got a,
it's page 54 of 127 on the agenda packet. We have something different going on there.
well,
That's September. It's 09 at the top tells you the file is in September.
okay, did we do it in September?
No, we didn't have a credit card payment in September.
Oh. Okay. All right, so,
Yeah, so if you can see, we have every expenditure lined out, Donut Boss, Chick-fil-A, Sir Speedy, everything was lined out one by one.
So, for this, does Tarquin, should Searles make a motion not to accept the revenue report, and then someone second, then we all vote that we agree that we want to table it until more robust numbers are available for next meeting? How do we go about,
Correct.
or do we all just do I direct our district to come back to us next month? Put it in-
Either is acceptable. You can proceed by motion, or you can direct the general manager with no opposition to do the
I'll
same.
just make it easy. General Manager, can you please bring this back, the consent, August revenue and expenditure report, bring it back next week? Not next week, but next meeting. Yeah.
with the breakdown of,
With the breakdown, so it's not a lump sum. And moving forward, make sure credit
broken
card
down.
statements, the full transactional report is part of it, not just the lump sum of the bill. Okay?
So this item is being continued till the next meeting for further
Yes,
consideration.
we approved E1, but E2 is going to be on next agenda for November.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Moving along to agenda part G. G1, this is a report from the Personnel and Contract Administration Committee regarding LAGSL, Measure of Understanding Negotiations. Mr. Mendoza.
President, Mayor, and members of the board, Directors Maynard or President Maynard and Vice
You
Chair
talk in the microphone,
DeMarco,
Joe?
I'm sorry, and DeMarco met on September 23rd with myself, Carolyn, and with the LAGSA board, and we talked about a number of issues. And once again, I think Chris mentioned that we're working towards upgrading the agreement. We hope to be in November, might be December. We're on the move here. And some of the issues are on page 36. One is we felt very strongly that the LAGSL appoint a resident to be liaison to the RCSD board, just because they have more buy-in and they have more ownership, because they're a resident of representing the league. The permit application and process includes insurance, indemnification, game practice supervision. So when they bring in their request for a permit, we're asking them to follow these procedures and bring in schedules and also supervision schedules for games and practices, so we know who to contact. And we came up with a formula on how to do that. LAGSL assistance with trash, restrooms, and parking, as well as water in the fields. Discussion will include deposit fees. Number of regular season games and practices are in negotiation. We're discussing that, and of course, our concern is impact and the number of people on the fields at one time during a Saturday, mostly on Saturdays. LAGSL agrees to pay established reservation fees. Currently, snack bar fee is $13.50 an hour, and the field is $6.25. We asked for some consideration in branding, and they're coming up with a logo to put a patch on a sleeve or some other type of areas that would recognize that Rossmoor is making an effort to work with them, and that they call themselves, Los Alamitos Girls Softball, but basically it's Rossmoor. And we're trying to make sure that we get that type of recognition. So that's kind of the high points, and I think President Maynard and Vice Chair DeMarco might ad-lib a little on some of the meetings, but we're still in this process.
You're the chairman of this committee.
Well, Joe, you did a good job. That's exactly what we're talking about. We've had 2 meetings.
Yes.
You might have had more, but Michael and I have had 2 meetings. And if you just want to remind the board that Mr. Mendoza, through the day-to-day general manager duties and managing this MOU and the girls softball, came to the committee with some recommendations. And I think the biggest recommendation, number one, Mr. Mendoza's recommendation, and this was discussed at the last meeting, was that the softball league at Rossmoor Park is at maximum capacity. So that's what Joe was telling us, is it's at maximum capacity. So his recommendation was a reduction, okay? Not to get rid of them, not to do any of that, but his recommendation is, because it's at maximum, perhaps, we might reduce some of the usage on the park for Saturday games. What we found out in the meeting, though, and what, again, I didn't know, is they also have games during the week. It's not just practice. So they're using the park Tuesday through Friday?
Yes.
Okay, Tuesday through
yes,
Friday.
yeah.
Spring, 11 weeks, 6 days per week. Fall is 7 weeks, 4 days per week. And then there's All-Star for 5 weeks. So it's 23 weeks, and it's on there's 81 Saturday games. So it's a big impact on the park. So we're discussing and negotiating if we can lighten the load. As I told them, just a little bit, and that's where we are. They feel they can't lighten the load. So I'm just sharing with the board, that's what we're negotiating, is trying to, we got them to, they didn't pay for any of the snack shack. Okay, so when things broke, we would pay for it, we service it, we maintain it, and they weren't even renting it. So we got them to do, they're renting it now like any you know, any other organization would. And then the contact has been a big issue where Joe or staff does not know when there are issues because, you know, I was there I drove by Saturday, this last Saturday, and there are 3 games going, 6 teams. So things come up, like someone's parked in front of a fire hydrant or whatever issue. Staff needs to know who's in charge from, you know, they have a board, and there's, I think, 26 members on their board, and Joe recommended that there should be a board member from Rossmoor available on those Saturdays. So we're negotiating that. So this is kind of like what we've narrowed it down to on our list. Again, we just don't know, and I asked this board, is that something that we want to push more? Is go with a slight reduction because there is other fields available outside of Rossmoor, or do we? I mean, I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that issue of reduction, ever so slightly, just because of the huge impact it has on Rossmoor Park. And again, I'm not against the softball. I'm looking at the facilities and what my general manager is telling the committee.
Look at it this way, people. 45% of our Saturdays, softball takes a big dent out of one of our parks.
Are the majority of the softball players Rossmoor residents?
No. The majority of them go to school within Rossmoor and the LoSal. But they do not have, we are asking for that information. They are trying to get that information. But to emphasize, we let them know that they're not being evicted. But right now they have a league called the Los Alamitos League. They do sometimes use Los Alamitos parks, but at a fraction, like 1% or 2% of the games. All of the pressure is on our parks, on 45% of the Saturdays in a given year. So we just said, and the way I said is, you need to figure out a path that you're less reliable only on Rossmoor. We are here. We do not want to evict you. We want there, but you've got to relieve some of the pressure, is where we left it with.
When you say relieve some of the pressure, so reduce the amount that they're playing, you use the word, Tony, slightly, in order for what?
In order to lessen the impact on the parks.
The impact meaning the wear and tear?
Just wear and tear, the parking that we have around the park, the use for our residents to use the park on a Saturday. And again, we've gone, we can go deeper in this if you guys want to, but what the discussion has been is on Saturdays, on these 40 whatever weeks, people, Joe does not, they don't give out permits for certain activities because they know the park is going to be inundating with kids playing girls softball, which is fine.
There's been requests for other activities that we just can't
Exactly.
put there.
Yes.
Exactly.
And I know the pickleball stuff, we got tons of vocal complaints about the use there, but it seems like softball is much more impactful.
Yeah. So that's another big, so what you just hit on is another big kind of, in my opinion, is, let me ask Joe. Joe, is there any complaints or any recommendations from any resident in Rossmoor that you know of this, I don't know, this last year or on where we should, that the softball league is too impactful and we should reduce?
No, it's an observation. We're getting parking.
No, but no one has.
No.
No one, okay, so
I would tell you before pickleball, there was a lot of complaints about the softball until pickleball became the big complaint, at least within the few neighbors around the park.
Yeah.
Pickleball. Before that, it was softball. That's what even led to having to have a measure of understanding.
Correct.
So again, we've just asked them, please come back to us with less reliance on our parks. And one of the reasons why they rely on our parks is, guess what? We're less expensive than LoSal. One of my big learnings is the people who really make money on this are those umpires. They make $60 a game. So if anybody has kids
Yes, 60 bucks times
who want,
3.
yeah, times 3. There's some kids coming out, you know, high school kids with $180 in their pocket on the day that they umpire 3.
Well, the league, I imagine, makes some money too.
They claim a loss. They claim they're losing money.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, they.
But that's, we're not here to solve their
Yeah.
their financial problems or how they spend money on umps and stuff like this. It's just, we are asking for a little bit of relief for a plan where maybe out of the 3, there's sometimes where there's relief because it's convergent of 6 teams coming as 6 teams are leaving 3 times on a Saturday. And you also have kids who are loitering. I don't want to call it loitering, that sounds bad. I take that back. You have kids who are social. You have kids who after the game want to hang out. There's a snack shack and they make it fun. And that part's only going to get worse once we have this new structure that we're putting in that park. That's going to even make it more attractive for people to hang out in between the games. So with all that said and done, we are asking of them to come back with a plan. Did we give them, you need to reduce your games by 20%? No. Personally, I hope they would come to us and say, here's our 20% Saturday reduction. But we put the ball in their court for them to come back to us because they only came back to us on the hard items of, yes, we understand the rates. Yes, we will pay for the snack shack. Yes, we promise we will be better at taking care of the trash because last year they weren't. And they're now, during fall ball, they're testing the waters with some kind of text group that Joe's going to be a part of. So if he sees things are a mess, he's going to text them going, clean up your mess, please. Because last year they really weren't the best tenants.
Do we miss anything, Joe? Any major
No,
points?
other than the observation is, and this league has been there for years, and I understand that, and I had a daughter that played all the way through college. I know softball backwards and forwards, and I know the value of it, and I know the family value of it, and the growth of a girl growing up, and the teamwork part of it. But this is a regional program on a community park, and we don't have the parking. And my point of view is we need to take a holistic approach and look at it and make it available to other entities of Rossmoor. For instance, picnics, renting of the building. We very rarely rent the building if we get a request, because it's too, you know, the kids are all over the place, and that's fine. But the parking's an issue. So looking at that, and we've been challenged by that by some residents saying, hey, you need to look at programming, you need to look at your rental practices, you need to look at whatever in order to cut things down. So I'm not looking to destroy softball or tell them they can't play. A field's a field. They can play at Los Alamitos on a field if they wanted to. Now, I know we're self-contained there because you have 3 fields and a snack bar. So that's very enjoyable that they're all right there and everything's together. But they're also here at Rush Park. They have that field for the little girls, I think 6 and under, they play all day at Rush Park here on a Saturday. So I'm just looking to lessen some of the impact, that's all.
So that's
So
where we're
that's
at.
where we're at.
Yep.
If there aren't any more questions, or we can move on to the next item.
Do they play at Rush Park too?
Yeah, the
Well, that's what we
6-year-olds.
said. There's
The
a
small.
There's the under 6,
Oh.
the one in the corner.
Got it.
They have asked multiple times for us to convert that from a multi-use field into a sole softball field. And I told them I would never bring that to the board, and I'm already a no on it because we already have 3 softball fields. Let's have a field with grass, and I think that would also interfere with our festivals, having a dusty corner lot. So to me, I just say, and also being on the parks and facility, I'm very protective of that, and I would never propose it, and I already know what my vote is on that. I know I'm not supposed to be closed-minded.
No,
But when you have 3 already softball fields, I actually think we have too many softball fields, to be honest, but
Yeah,
I
no.
know that's not a popular opinion.
I agree, there's nothing wrong with softball, but I guess the bigger question is, how do you determine who gets to use it? When you get a group like softball that's plugged in and then they expand to the point of maximum capacity,
Yeah.
how do we mitigate that? How do we control that? Do we want to?
And that's where we are, I mean, and that's what we're trying to, and
Scheduling.
just to, again, another point I want to make is, two of them, the main lady and then one of the coaches was there, they're Rossmoor residents. Okay, so we're not, everyone there is not outside Rossmoor, they're Rossmoor residents, the kids, we're trying to get, and I'm telling them, it makes our argument much stronger if you tell us 60% is Rossmoor.
Yeah,
But, we're trying to get that information, and,
we don't have it yet.
yeah, so that's where we're at.
Sounds like a scheduling issue.
Well, no, it's not a scheduling, it's, they don't want to go anywhere else.
Right, but I mean, for us to enforce them to cut their time and usage of the park, it becomes a scheduling issue. So wherever they go,
For
wherever
them.
else they go, they've got to work it out with them, and we have to work it out what we would like as far as expectations go. So, you know what, we don't want practices on Tuesdays and Thursdays, or we don't want games on Tuesdays and Thursdays, or, whatever. We have to take out a day and say that's not available
And
anymore.
so,
Right.
so we're
it
leaving
becomes
it.
their issue.
So, Director Shade, we're leaving it entirely up to them. I was at the meeting and I literally said, a little bit, just
Yeah.
give us a little
Take
bit.
out a
So,
day or
just like
two.
what you're saying,
Yeah.
is come back to us with just a little bit of
But
reduction.
that's like a suggestion to them, to like let them know, hey, you know what, this is what we'd like to do. We'd like to take out a day or two, just your practices, not a game day, it's a practice day, or a game day, one practice and one game day.
And you know what, one of the responses was, well, instead of 9 weeks, let's just go 12. And then we can do, and that's defeating the
That-
purpose.
yeah.
I think we
It's-
have to set
Yep.
the,
I agree.
we have to set the bar as to what we want and not let them dictate. And whatever we come up with, they'll be able to work with it as well.
Right.
So I think that it's just a
And
matter
that's
of
why we're going
compromising.
slow.
Yep.
We started 2 months
I
ago.
want to see
or
what they
so.
come back with, and in my mind, in case they're watching this on YouTube, if they're one of the 200 people, I hope they come back to us with a 20% reduction. And I was very clear that you need to, if you want to grow this, you're going to have to grow it beyond Rossmoor Fields.
Right.
Because we actually are asking
Right.
for relief in a very nice way.
Right.
I mean, to be honest, we could say, we don't have to ask, here it is, but come back to us and be reasonable. So, okay, let's move to G2. This is a review and approve contract extension for government financial services. Mr. Mendoza.
I feel like we keep
President
bouncing.
Maynard, members of the board, this is a request to, I'm sorry, you said G2?
G.
My paper's stuck in there. This is a request to extend our financial services agreement with Government Financial Services, Michael Matsumoto, to another 4.5 months from October 11th, 2024 to February 28th, 2025. The compensation recommendation is keep it the same as the contract at $6,000 per month, and which on an annual basis would be $72,000. Prior to this, the Government Financial Services, Michael asked for cost of living.
Joe, in the microphone.
Yeah, we can
I'm
barely
sorry.
hear you.
They asked for a cost of living increase that was denied, and they are asking to put an opt-out, but they know we are in a situation where we have to find a replacement, and he graciously given us his time and his service till the end of March, end of February, March 1st, February 28th. So what we're asking for is for you to extend the contract for that amount of months, 4.5 months, so we can continue in the process of recruiting another service, and we will be meeting with the contracts committee, and we have some information from other entities that we will bringing forth to you to consider. So if you would, attached is the agreement, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
This came up last meeting when it was a full, let's renew the contract. And it was brought up, do we need his level of service as a CPA at this amount of money for such a small organization that's about $2 million, actually less than. So obviously, we still require accounting services. We need to move forward with someone, he understands it, so this is a stopgap measure to buy us 4.5 months to find the right accounting organization. And that's the term I like to use versus a bookkeeper versus a CPA. Right now, it seems like we do not need a full-time CPA at $80-something thousand a year to run a $2 million organization. Most likely a organization out there that's a mixture of bookkeeping with a CPA oversight. But while we're trying to find that organization, which Joe is working on, we still have a need, and this buys us 4.5 months. Any discussion? I'll start with you, Director Searles.
I don't have anything at this time. I think it's a stopgap, and I wish Mr. Matsumoto was here this evening to present, but with no additional increase in the rate. And I guess my question to Mr. Mendoza, to the board, is what is our calendar for the audit, and how does the accountant services and the audit overlap here?
Yeah. It's in the general manager's report. The audit committee will be meeting to review the preliminary audit on Wednesday, October 16th. The final audit will be submitted to the Rossmoor Community Services Board of Directors on November 12th. So we will be completed with an audit by. Okay.
Timing's good.
We're in the process of it. We've done it.
Yep.
It's with our auditor. They're doing the MD&A and the whole 9 yards, and we'll be bringing it to you.
I'm okay with proceeding.
Director DeMarco.
Yeah, I don't have much to say. I'm in favor of this stopgap and reviewing, moving forward, finding possibly other options, or staying with him. But I think it is a lot of money to manage our budget. I'm not saying that, we're getting, he's very, very capable. He turned us around with Black Mountain and all that, and did a great job integrating all of that. But moving forward, I don't know if we need that level of service. And, I kind of like the approach where you have oversight with CPA, and then some of the input work is done by lower staff at a lower rate to save some money.
Okay. Director Shade.
I agree.
Good. Director Barkey.
Ditto.
Okay, Tony, do you have a motion?
Sure. I move to extend the government financial services for another 4.5 months at the recommendation of the general manager.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay. We're now going to go to the first reading for proposed policy number 2215 regarding workplace violence prevention program. Mr. Mendoza.
Yes, sir. President Maynard, members of the board, this is a state mandate. This is California State Bill 553, was signed into law on September 30th, 2023, and amended Labor Code Section 6401-7 requires employers to develop and implement a workplace violence prevention plan in accordance with newly codified labor law. So basically, we have before you a policy that we want to adopt. I want to thank Tarquin and Carolyn for helping me work on this. And we did pass it through CJPA, so we might, at our second reading, we might have a few things to add to it, but this is a very good policy as it stands. We have had training. We've had active shooter training already that we sent staff to who has come back and given us their overview of it. And just this last week, we did have a workplace violence training for a couple hours online. All our staff took it, and now we are in the process of following this program and this policy to, I guess, to massage it and to work it out on how we would react to certain situations. And that's an ongoing thing. Quarterly, it's mandated in this policy that we need to keep a continual training of our staff so they're aware and that they feel safe in their environment and they know how to report any type of potential workplace violence, whether it be internal, staff on staff, or whether it be external. And so we're happy with this. I recommend that we adopt the policy for our first reading. Tarquin's here to answer any questions, and that concludes my report.
Okay, I'm going to start with Tarquin. Do you have any commentary you would like to make?
Mr. Mendoza summarized it very well. This is a state mandate. We have no choice but to adopt this policy, or a policy, workplace violence prevention program. My office had put this policy together for another one of our agencies. This is modified slightly for Rossmoor.
Okay, thank you. I'll start on this side. Director Searles.
Nothing, thank you.
Director DeMarco.
So I know a little bit about this. This has been a big deal for small businesses. I'm going to be taking a webinar on Thursday by a company just to tell me how to implement a program. Okay, so this was enacted in 2023, but it was enforced. It's enforceable July 1st of this year. So just about every business in California is non-compliant because it's like no one really knew that it was going to be enforced. I mean, I knew about it after the fact, right? So we're all, like my association for my business is putting this together for the members. So this is like a big statewide, race to get compliant with this SB 553. So it's something that we have to do, and from the looks of me, we're already ahead. We're already our staff's already being trained on it. Do any of us have to be trained?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Parkland,
I mean,
I'm not aware that elected officials, this is a requirement for elected officials, it is a requirement for employees.
Okay. It's workplace violence. So anyway,
Okay.
so it's necessary, and
Okay.
I will approve.
Director
I'll vote for it.
Shade.
I just had the same, I was going to go to Tarquin right off the bat and just see what his concerns are, if he had any. But, yeah, thank you for answering my question.
Okay. Director Barkey.
No questions.
Okay. Please be advised that we have given it our first reading. It will come back next meeting for our second. Tarquin, if there is additions, does that make it a new first reading? Mendoza made it sound like he might have some extra input.
If there are additions, it technically would be a new first reading unless the board resolved to introduce and adopt in one motion.
Okay.
And Tarquin, you put this together, right?
Correct.
Okay.
All right. Let's move on to
Well-
resolution.
President, we need an actual motion and vote.
Oh, you need a motion that we accept the first read?
To
And then a roll
accept
call?
A roll call to
Okay.
accept the first reading.
Okay,
To
so
intro-
are
To
we-
introduce policy number 2215.
So we need a motion that this passes that we have considered this our first reading.
Correct. Motion to move to introduce policy number 2215, workplace violence prevention program.
Okay. Someone please make that motion.
So moved.
I think he wants you to read a little bit more than that.
What Tarquin said. Hang on.
Tarkin, we need to make a motion to accept the policy, or?
No.
No.
For the first reading.
Make a
To-
motion
Just
to
make a
enter
motion.
the policy as a
Make,
first
make,
reading.
make a motion to introduce the policy for first reading, policy number 2215.
All right, I move that we make, just because the Director Barkey, I'll try it. So I move that we accept for first reading policy number 2215, Workplace Violence Prevention Program.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Roll call, Director Barkey,
Aye.
Director Shade,
Aye.
Director DeMarco,
Aye.
Director Searles,
Aye.
President Maynard.
Aye. Okay, now we move to G5, resolution number 24-10-08-01, a rejection of government claim. Mr.
Thank you,
Mendoza.
President Maynard, members of the board. It's recommended that the RCSD Board of Directors approve by roll call to reject a resolution of the board regarding the claim filed by Sergio Lopez alleging property damage resulting from a broken tree limb onto his car or truck. Resolution number 2410-0801 formally rejects the claim. From here, the claim goes back to CGPIA for further decision on whether or not to pay the claim. So by our rejection, it's going back to our insurance authority for them to I guess, massage it further and investigate it and make a decision.
This is our standard protocol that if someone ever did some, instead of us saying, yeah, and no, let the insurance companies do their job. And that's always been the stance that we take. Is there a motion?
So moved.
This is a resolution, so you're going to have to read the resolution.
I move that the resolution of the Board of Rossmoor Service District rejects government claim. It's resolution number 2410-0801.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Searles has the second. Roll call, please.
This is a roll call vote for resolution number 2410-0801, rejection of government claim. Director Barkey,
Aye.
Director Shade,
Aye.
Director DeMarco,
Aye.
Director Searles,
Aye.
President Maynard.
Aye. Brings us to general manager items. What do you have for us, Mr. Mendoza?
Thank you. President Maynard, members of the board, Mary and I will be attending a California Joint Powers Insurance Authority Summit this week to be in Indian Wells. As you know, Mary is up for a capstone award, or the district is up for a capstone award for our outstanding preventive maintenance program on regarding our trees. So our claims are very low. We have an outstanding program that we put forth. They came out and they did a day-long video of our staff performing their job, interviewing both myself, Mary, and a couple of the other staff, and that video will be presented at the Indian Wells Summit, and I'm confident, Mary, it was just an honor to be even recognized. We're one of 4 finalists throughout California, so that's a nice honor. We should have played the video for you. I did pretty good in it, so I'm pretty proud. So we'll make sure we get it up here next time. But
Yes.
Mary did a great job on the video. It was awesome, and it explained our preventive maintenance program very well. As I mentioned, the audit committee, we're on target. We've been knocking out all the requests that the auditor has, and we've been making sure that everything is in line. And I project a good final outcome. We're trying to work with our traffic committee. Carolyn will be reaching out to you and a couple of residents regarding Montecito Road configuration and speed limits throughout Rossmoor, and we'll be coming up with a meeting. I'll be working with the president to see when we can fit that in before the end of the year, I hope.
Please do.
Okay. Rossmoor Park Canopy Project. Architectural design is done. We're in the engineering phase now, and then November 1st we go into plan check with the county. So we hope to have it done sometime in February. Let's see here. We have been doing repairs to the rubberized surface here at Rossmoor Park, and we routinely make sure that it's safe and that it's level, or the rubber isn't, I guess, cracking and or soft. And our staff knows how, they've been trained into how to repair the rubber. It's a big cost-saving factor. I mean, to replace that rubber or the one at Rossmoor Park would be tens of thousands of dollars. And we, Romero orders the equipment, goes out there and cuts it out, makes sure that it's tight and it's safe, and we make sure it's level. Same as sand. Sand tends to compact, become hard. We just had a rototiller out last week where we deep rototilled both parks and softened it up. Now we're going to add sand to it. So it's the same thing, same as the rubber. It can be hard and compact, or it's a fall zone issue when you're dealing with a playground. In recent weeks, as you know, one of the targets we have is training. In recent weeks, the staff training has included playground safety. We do that on an annual basis, at least once annually. And then how to deal with difficult people, preventing substance abuse and workplace violence. Ergonomics is the next on the calendar and will be held on Friday, November 1st, followed by fire extinguisher training on November 19th. So we have a whole system that we keep up on an annual basis, and our staff is trained, and we keep records of who attended classes. And if they didn't, we have them make it up, and it's all done on the cheap. CGAPA, that's part of our agreement with them, and they have all these trainings. Some of them are in person, and some of them they send out their trainers, or some of it's online. So really thankful for their program that they've given us. So that concludes my report.
Okay, great. Board member items, we'll start on this side over here. Director Searles.
Again, want to just thank Chris for the incredible work he's doing. It was great to have the Girl Scout troop do the Pledge of Allegiance tonight. That was fun, and really appreciate their enthusiasm. And I hope if you're available on Saturday and not observing the holiday, that you will be able to attend the Taste for LaSalle. Other than that, thank you all. Have a good night.
Okay. Director DeMarco.
Joe and Carolyn, and President Maynard, can we agendize for next month if we get the answers from Vector Control on all of Director Barkey's questions, my questions, any questions that we've had? Can we just make sure that they're documented so we can ask Vector Control for answers? Sure. Chemicals, stuff like that. And whenever we get it, agendize it so we can still discuss it, and you can give us it can be in a report, Joe, something like that. So can we make sure we do that? Because again, it's so hard to get, I don't know why it's so hard to get some action. Joe, I appreciate the email, but most of that is not, again, I appreciate the email. I appreciate the county, giving us that email, telling us that they got to trim the neighbors' bushes up on the sides, which, okay, that's they have to maintain it, and just like our wall, you gotta have some policies. Maybe the resident pays for it or whatever, or maintains it. But what we're asking for is inside the channel, right? And just like the pictures, I'd like the pictures included in our. And you can please email them to Ms. Kwan.
Oh, we will. Yeah.
And but just want to keep this going, because it just seems that we're not getting the answers to. Should we be worried about it? Is this a concern? Is there mosquitoes in there? Is this because it certainly looks like there's a lot of water there. So Have you ever been given an audit by the street sweepers where they give you, here's a report that here's the
Not a full audit like you're.
Okay.
But yes, if I call and a resident says, hey, this did not get swept, they will send me the data showing that the sweeper went by at what time, and yeah.
Okay.
So they have provided that.
Can we continue that too? So when you get a package from them that perhaps if you feel it, well, I'd like to see it. So can we also report that? Don't have to be next month, when you get it. I mean, it was good information tonight, you know, Jose's saying that, that with the boom down, you can only go 8 miles an hour, right? So, again, I know I've heard complaints where they're running through faster than that, but okay. I think we still have to, you know, we definitely got an issue about enforcement. And, you know, and I know what Joe, you and Jose were talking about with the trash cans. I know on Weatherby, Tuesday mornings, there's trash cans on the street, and it would be nice to change that with the trash to where we get our streets swept. Let's, I guess, is there options for us in the future for other contractors, in your opinion, or is this the only company?
The only large company that I know of right now, that Street Sweeping Corp of America has somewhat bought out the industry. The other large company, which I've made contact with, is CR&R, who does the trash. So that's another option to look at.
And then they got to bid it within our parameters or our budget, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. Wait a minute, there was something else here. Joe, we get our playgrounds inspected?
Yes.
Do you
Yes,
know-
we do.
Okay, so, again, these were statements, I'm gonna go with that, statements that were brought up at candidates night, and I was the only one that was the elected one there, so it, you know, I'm just, no big deal, you know, you can, whatever, you were doing a good job, bad job, you know, okay, that's it. But there were a couple of them about the parks that I just want to kind of, you know, make statements about. And one of them was that, you know, somehow our playgrounds or something aren't inspected and we need to inspect them, or, and that some of our facilities aren't ADA compliant. Are facilities ADA compliant, Joe?
Yes.
Okay. You know, and that our facilities are old and run down, and I don't agree with that, but,
No, some of them were grandfathered in.
Yeah.
Until you make a major construction or add something to your facility, then it's evaluated again. So, but yes, right now, yes.
okay. Chris, thank you. He's left, but I want to thank Chris. I want to thank all the staff for an incredible year. I know it's not over. We still got the Winter Festival, but, you know, as Chris mentioned, I think it was probably the largest attended festivals we've had in the summer, and that is, you know, primarily due to Chris, Joe, Carolyn, and the staff putting these on. So they, again, did a great job, continue to do a great job, and that's it. Thank you.
Director Shade.
Thank you to Troop 9118, our Brownie troop. They did a really great job. They're super cute. Love having the Girl Scouts here. Brownies. They were brownies. Brownies and one daisy. Also, Jose for his street sweeping and, you know, report that he gave us. That was all good. Liked hearing everything he had to say, and I like the idea of us getting cameras, so I want to make sure we follow up with him in a couple of weeks to make sure he got the cameras installed on those cars, because I think that will be, or trucks, to be helpful for us. Thank you to Tran for her vector control. I was disappointed that we didn't get any data on that. I would like to see some data on our area specifically, because without that, it was just a lot of information that we pretty much already knew, really. it's always good to refresh and remember everything that we have to do for all those different areas. But literally, I would like to see some solid data. And I feel like there's a disconnect between the vector control and the public works. And
You
this is
think?
something that we have brought up multiple times. And if we could get them here on the same night and make another effort on this, because it's really huge. There are a lot of complaints that we do get, and it's having those two guys here on the same night would be extremely helpful, and try to coordinate a joint effort on that, because that seems to be the absolute disconnect that we are having with those two organizations. So I'd also like to get the inspector's name and contact information directly for us to have, because without that, I'd like to hear from him and where it goes from. Once he's out here to inspect it, then what? Then it gets dropped for another however long, and it's just like, I'd like to know what the flow is, the workflow, as how he goes about. So having him here would be really great too. If we could get that inspector for our area here, that would be huge. Not just somebody from, like, appreciate our girl Trent for stepping up and coming in on a night where she was just kind of thrown in this position, and she did great. Other than that, I thank Chris and his crew for the events that he puts on. He's literally has done an amazing job of putting those into a flow that's amazing for all of us in Rossmoor. We appreciate all of his effort, and both Joe and Carolyn, both the whole staff is just amazing on everything that they do for those events that they have for us coming up in the winter event. Looking forward to that one. Outside of that, that's it. Thank you very much.
Director Barkin.
There is no disconnect between vector control and public works. They're
no
not
connect.
connected.
Right.
They'll never be connected. They're two independent government agencies that
Right.
could care less about what each other's do. And it's just, it highlights the inefficiencies of government in general.
Our frustration.
We had Trin, who seems really sweet, but her title is an educator about
Right.
the vectors. She has nothing to do with the analysis of our problem. And that's very
Couldn't
different.
answer a question. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, we need to do some of this work ourselves if we want to get it done. Because it's, you look in any of the channels, it's a hazard. If you have a home that backs up to that channel and you're out at 6 o'clock at night as the sun is going down, you're at risk. And I don't know that we're going to get anybody to solve this for us. We need to kind of figure out the solution for ourselves. I mean, the classic example is this workplace violence BS mandate. I've got to do the same thing in my business. It's an unfunded mandate that will solve no problem, but will make somebody up in Sacramento feel good that they're forcing all of us to do this. The end result will be there's going to be no difference in any workplace violence. I'm not sure that there's much of a problem with it now anyways, and there are laws on the books where you can't do that anyhow, but it's some siloed group that decided that they wanted to pass another law for the sake of passing a law. And that's what we deal with in almost everything we have to deal with as a government agency. So you can't be too frustrated. You just have to assume that it happens, and we need to be creative enough with the general manager and others to solve these kind of problems. That's the big challenge that we run into, especially with our limited authority that we actually have. So anyways, besides that good news, love seeing the kids and the activities, and what a wonderful problem to have that we have somebody that wants to use our parks to the maximum, and we have to figure out how to budget the usage. What a great problem to have, because I imagine there are some areas in some nice, not so nice neighborhoods where the parks are empty because they're not safe places for kids to play and to gather. So it's great. We'll solve it with the help of the softball league and do the best we can. So that's all. Thank you.
One of the things that I was thinking, and Mr. Barkey made me even think that this is more, if we are ever able to actually get vector and Public Works to agree to come out here. I almost feel like being creative about this is we should have the meeting here a couple hours early so it's sunshiny. And literally part of our board meeting is hopping in a rented van with these individuals and driving to the sites point blank to make sure that they see what the problem is. I do remember us having a board meeting at our tennis courts when an engineer had to tell us about the problem that was underneath the court. And we actually physically started here as a meeting, went up there, had the meeting, and then came back here. But if we're ever able to get them to come here, I am open to a special meeting to make that happen instead of a board meeting. I just need a commitment that at least we get 3 board members to have a quorum, and literally physically bring them to the areas of concern so they can see it in front of our eyes, so they can explain their inaction and what they're going to do to solve it. So as you're reaching out, don't feel handcuffed to the second Tuesday of the month. I think we're all committed to this issue of public safety, that we would at least be able to get 3 people at 5 o'clock on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday to meet with them at the affected sites, and literally almost demanding, you need to take care of this. So, the other thing I have is, Tony took some fun pictures. I expect and want to see them in our consent calendar, so it is a public record. So when our agendas are being made and we have the consent, please address that in the consent notes that Director DeMarco shared, these visuals with vector control, and have those physically embedded into the document. So,
Do you mean the minutes, or you mean the consent calendar?
the minutes that are within the consent calendar. So the minutes that are
I get you.
produced, I would like Tony's photos to be part of that public record. And with that, I'm going to ask Tarquin, do you have any general counsel items?
No, nothing further, Mr. President.
Then this meeting is so adjourned.